Hallo alle, herzlich willkommen auf herrtaylor.com. Bundesländer, German states. So let's dive in. Share my screen with you here and oop. All right. Hier sind die deutsche Bundesländer. In den USA gibt es 50 Bundesländer. In Deutschland gibt es 16 Bundesländer. So basically, Bundesländer are the equivalent of states, like in the United States, okay? So, and then in each of those states, they have more like counties and similar to the system we have, all right? So Bundesländer, Bundesländer. So Länder comes from the word Land, and got to uncapitalize our D because Microsoft changes it for us. So here we're going to need umlaut A. Get back to where I want to belong. All right, so hier sind die Bundesländer, Bundesland, federal state, Land, yeah, Länder, lands, okay, federal states. So that's the basis that Bundes means federal. Anybody's football fans, soccer fans, got the Bundesliga, right? If you type in Bundes on Google, it'll typically take you first to Bundesliga, which is the federal league, the federal soccer league. And this is Bundesländer. So there are 16 Bundesländer in Germany. Let me zoom out here a little for you. There's Germany, is in the center of Europe. South of it, we've got Austria, Österreich, Switzerland, die Schweiz. And then up here to the north, we've got Denmark. And on our western side, Niederlande, Belgium, Luxembourg. Okay, so we got Netherlands, also Holland, Belgium, and Luxembourg over on the west side. We've got Czechia, Poland, so Czech Republic, or I think it's actually Czechia. Yeah, it's Czechia now. Poland, and yeah, that's it. I don't know which one. Oh, that's part of Australia. There we go. Okay, so yeah, there you go. There's your surrounding states. Now, what are these states themselves? The surrounding countries here, the states themselves. In the north, Schleswig-Holstein. Schleswig-Holstein. Capital, Kiel. Kiel. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern. Capital, Schwerin. Schwerin. And we've got an interesting thing that we have in Germany that we don't have in the US, so we'll talk about that in a second. Hamburg. Hamburg. So the capital of Schleswig-Holstein is Kiel. The capital of Mecklenburg-Vorpommern is Schwerin. The capital of Hamburg is Hamburg. So it's a city-state. Kind of interesting. So here we have this green is Brandenburg. Brandenburg. Capital of Brandenburg is Potsdam. Potsdam. History buffs have heard of Potsdam, right? Potsdamer Platz, all that. And we've got another city-state, Berlin. Berlin. Berlin, right? Ich bin ein Berliner. Okay. It is a city-state. So it's a city and a state. Has two separate governments. Interesting, it is surrounded by the state of Brandenburg. So it is completely contained within another state. We don't have that here. We have the four corners where four states intersect in one spot, close to there. But we don't have any states within states. So that's kind of interesting. So moving to our west here, we've got Sachsen-Anhalt. Sachsen-Anhalt. Capital is Magdeburg. Magdeburg. It's a fun one to say. Magdeburg. Niedersachsen. Niedersachsen. Capital is Hanover. Hanover. Okay. Another city-state, the third city-state in Germany, Bremen. Bremen. Capital is Bremen. If you've ever heard of the Bremen Town Musicians, that's where that fairy tale's from, so that's kind of cool. The Bremer Stadtmusikanten, really interesting, very famous fairy tale. If you haven't seen it, look it up, or haven't read it. Let's see, so we'll go down here to the west. Nordrhein-Westfalen. Nordrhein-Westfalen. Capital Düsseldorf. Düsseldorf. I think we did Sachsen-Anhalt, Magdeburg. Going this way, we got Sachsen, Sachsen, Dresden, Dresden. Okay, so notice here we've got Niedersachsen, Sachsen-Anhalt, Sachsen. Okay? Very famous that, you know, the Anglo-Saxons, this is where the Saxon part of that comes from. So here's Sachsen, Sachsen-Anhalt, and then Niedersachsen, which is lower Saxony. So the closer it's to the sea, it's lower Saxon. So all this is Saxon. Okay, going right here in the middle, Thüringen, Thüringen. Capital is Erfurt, Erfurt. Hessen, Hessen. Capital is Wiesbaden, Wiesbaden. Rheinland-Pfalz, Rheinland-Pfalz. Capital is Mainz, Mainz. Okay. Baden-Württemberg, Baden-Württemberg. Capital is Stuttgart, Stuttgart. Bayern, Bayern. Capital München, München. So in English, it's Munich. In German, it's München. And you see it's the largest landmass of states. And when most Americans think of Germany, they think of Bayern. It's the traditional Bavarian things that people think of, like the Oktoberfest and wearing lederhosen and that kind of thing. There are many places in Germany that don't have lederhosen at all. So, but that's this big state, and it's, you know, where a lot of Americans were stationed, and that was part of where the Americans had their occupation, et cetera, et cetera. So we have a lot of contact with there. For you history buffs, here's Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, North here, we're in the Northeast. I hope you can see my clicker. Mecklenburg-Vorpommern, Sachsen-Anhalt, Brandenburg, Berlin, Sachsen. This was all, and Thüringen. This was all East Germany, these 5 states, and then Berlin were in East Germany, and this over here was West Germany. So you can go check that out if you can. So those are the states and capitals. A lot of these you'll see in English, they have the same name. So sometimes you'll, like Schleswig-Holstein will be written just Schleswig-Holstein, pronounced just with an English. Bremen, Bremen, Hamburg, Hamburg, right? Other ones, they'll, instead of saying Nordrhein-Westfalen, they'll say North Rhine-Westphalia. So just know that when you're looking up stuff, sometimes it's in German, sometimes not. Especially on, if you Google it, it typically takes you to English. Niederlande, like I said, Niedersachsen is Lower Saxony. Niederlande, the Netherlands, the lower lands, also known as Holland, where they speak Dutch, right? Dutch language, but they're not the Dutch, and they're the Dutch people, but it's in Holland and the Netherlands. So lots going on there. Belgium, Belgium, Luxembourg's the same. Saarland is Frankreich, French, or France, Frankreich, the French realm, Reich, means like a realm, kind of. Yeah. Die Schweiz, Switzerland, Österreich, the Eastern realm, also known as Austria, where Arnold Schwarzenegger comes from. Yeah. Czechia now, and then Poland. Okay, so those are the states and capitals and places around them. If you look in the document that I've posted for you, you can see kind of the comparative sizes. Like Bayern is about the size of Ireland. Armenia is about the size of Brandenburg. El Salvador is Hessen. Israel, Sachsen-Anhalt. Luxembourg, Saarland, that doesn't help a lot of us in the U.S., but Barbados, if you've ever been to the Barbados, that's like one of their smaller states. So, and here's the one that helps many people. Deutschland, about the Republic Congo. It's about the size of the Congo. In the US, it's about the size of Minnesota. I taught in Colorado for a number of years, and I always said it was like Colorado, Wyoming, and a little bit of New Mexico, maybe, about the size. So there you go. So some good practice here to end this up. Go back and take a look at that map. Go online. There's a lot of YouTube links. I didn't put any links right here, but I've got more links coming. Different geography things that you can look at and watch videos on in German. Some of them made for kids. I find it's best, even if you're an adult, if you find them made for kids, they're at more at our level and easier for us to understand sometimes. If they're made for native kids, it's often harder, but a lot of times the especially if you look at like history stuff told for young German teenagers to learn, that's easier for us to understand linguistically usually. So now take a few minutes and finish up your lesson on this. Some of the practice you can do, not just, you can find maps online, print them off. I'll try to post some on the website so you can just print them right there. Put your print off a blank map and try to fill it in. You like to color. I love to color in the map, put in the names of the capitals, see if you can memorize them. If you have friends, hopefully you're learning with other people, try to make a game of it. Maybe you cut it up and make little puzzle pieces, and whoever has which piece kind of thing, who can remember what's what. And then another thing you can do, remember, it's always best to practice with someone else, but sometimes you have to practice with yourself. And that's just the way it is. So practice out loud if you can. If you only have the capability or capacity, like you're at work and you're bored through the day, practice in your head and have conversations with yourself. Was ist die Hauptstadt von Bayern? Die Hauptstadt von Bayern ist München. And what is the capital of Bavaria? Capital of Bavaria is Munich. Yeah. So here's your questions. Was ist die Hauptstadt von? Die Hauptstadt von ist blank. Yeah. So let's try it together. Was ist die Hauptstadt von? And then when you answer, die Hauptstadt von ist blank. And then you just go up to the map and just do it. So, was ist die Hauptstadt von Niedersachsen? Die Hauptstadt von Niedersachsen ist Hannover. Was ist die Hauptstadt von Nordrhein-Westfalen? Die Hauptstadt von Nordrhein-Westfalen ist Düsseldorf. And again, do you have to say the whole sentence? No. Is it good practice? Absolutely. The more you practice, the better. Okay. So I believe that about does it. Practice your spelling. You can even practice your spelling with that. Wie schreibt man das, right? How does one write that? There's another version of wie schreibt man das? Wie buchstabiert man das? Die Buchstaben or letters, A, B, C, D. So die Buchstaben. Wie buchstabiert man das? Buchstabieren is to spell. Wie buchstabiert man München? So we go up here. M-U-N-C-H-E-N. München. Wie schreibt man Niedersachsen? Niedersachsen. Niedersachsen. Okay, so that's another good practice for you. A lot of people feel hesitant, especially when you're first starting out learning a language, to practice. It feels weird to practice by yourself because you feel weird. It feels weird to practice with someone else. If they're in your class, it's okay because you're right there together. But if you just go out, I'm going to go out and venture out and practice at a place, an open place where people speak German or Spanish or whatever language you're learning, and you go out, and what if they ask something I haven't practiced? And it's anxious, it's anxiety building. So relax, go do it. It's worth it. They will be nice to you, I guarantee it. Second of all, depends on where you live. Most places very nice to you. Second of all, practice by yourself if you have to. It's just what you do, but practice, practice, practice. And again, don't practice all day to day and then not practice for a week. Make sure you keep practicing consistently every day, as much time as you can give, 15 minutes to an hour. And that's the end of the video for Bundesländer und die Hauptstädte. Make sure you go over to herrtaylor.com and buy a t-shirt or 10. And we'll see you in the next lesson in die dritte Stufe. Tschüss.